Rome, the rise, power, and fall of the greatest empire in history. Rome, a city born among 7 hills that became the heart of a world. An empire that shaped laws, wars, languages, and the very foundation of modern civilization. But how did it happen? How did a small tribe on the banks of the Tiber build a dominion that ruled the known world? And why did it fall? Today you will discover not only what the Roman Empire was, but why it became a mirror of humanity itself. Ambition, glory, power, and ruin. The rise from chaos to glory. 1st century BC. Rome was burning, not in flames, but from within. The Republic, after almost 500 years, was tearing itself apart. Civil wars, betrayal, corrupt senators, and generals hungry for power. And in the middle of that chaos rose a man who would change everything. Octavian, the great-nephew of Julius Caesar. When Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, Rome plunged into war. On one side, Mark Antony and Cleopatra. On the other, Octavian, young, cold, and calculating, and he won. In 27 BC, he received a new name, Augustus. And with that name, the Roman Empire was born. Augustus was more than a politician. He was an architect of power. He understood that Rome needed stability more than endless conquest. So he built something new, a government that looked like a republic but revolved entirely around one man. They called it the Principate. But everyone knew the truth. Rome now had an emperor. Under Augustus, the empire expanded, prospered, and entered 2 centuries of peace and progress, the Pax Romana. 200 years when Rome became the center of the world. Roads stretched from Egypt to Britain. Roman ships ruled the Mediterranean as if it were their private lake. And wherever the Roman eagle was planted, civilization followed. The power, men who ruled the world. The Roman Empire was not built by one man. It was shaped by giants and by monsters. Augustus built. Nero burned. Trajan conquered. Diocletian divided. Constantine transformed. Each left a mark that time could never erase, some glorious, others drenched in blood. Augustus, the architect of peace. Augustus knew that peace was stronger than conquest. He reformed the army, reorganized the Senate, and turned a city of brick into a city of marble. But Roman peace was built on fear. The Pax Romana existed only because anyone who defied it was crushed. Nero, the artist and the tyrant. Then came emperors who proved that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Nero, for example, he saw himself as an artist, a poet, a musician. The people saw a madman. They say he played the lyre while Rome burned. Maybe a myth, maybe truth, but the image endured. The emperor who set the world on fire became the face of excess. Nero persecuted Christians, killed his own mother, and shattered the people's faith in the throne. And yet, paradoxically, under his rule, art, theater, and architecture flourished. Trajan, the just conqueror. A century later came Trajan, the emperor who pushed Rome to its greatest extent. Under his rule, the empire stretched from the Atlantic to the Persian Gulf. Unlike many before him, Trajan was loved. He built roads, aqueducts, bridges, and programs to help the poor. A ruler who understood that power without humanity is only tyranny. Diocletian, the reformer. But even the greatest empire cannot survive without cracks. By the 3rd century, Rome was collapsing from within, a broken economy. Endless invasions. Emperors rising and falling in the blink of an eye. Then came Diocletian, who made a radical decision. He divided the empire into 2 halves, east and west, each with its own emperor. A desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. And for a time it worked. Constantine, the visionary. Then came Constantine the Great, the man who reunited the empire and changed the course of history. He legalized Christianity through the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, and more than that, he founded a new capital, Constantinople, a monumental city built upon ancient Byzantium that would stand as the heart of the Eastern Empire for more than 1,000 years. The ARMY power in armor. No empire endures without strength. And the Roman army was a perfect war machine. 5,000 men trained to obey without hesitation. Legionaries, Roman citizens, disciplined beyond measure. Auxiliaries, men from the provinces, not yet citizens, fighting to earn that honor through blood. They marched together in formation, their armor gleaming, forming the legendary Roman testudo, a living wall of shields advancing without mercy. Rome had learned to turn order itself into a weapon. But they didn't just fight. They built roads, bridges, fortresses, and cities. Wherever they passed, civilization followed. Rome did not simply conquer, it built a way of life. Culture, society, and daily life. Life under the empire. Rome was an empire of contrasts, of luxury and poverty, of philosophy and blood, of art and war. In its streets walked nobles and slaves, senators and gladiators, philosophers and soldiers. The contrast was brutal, but it was the essence of Rome. Citizenship to be a Roman citizen was a sacred privilege. It meant protection, rights, and status. At first, only those born in Rome had it. But over time, citizenship spread throughout the provinces until almost the entire empire was officially Roman. It was a masterstroke. The more people felt part of Rome, the harder it became to rebel against it. Religion. Rome began with too many gods to count. Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Apollo. And as it conquered new peoples, it absorbed their gods as well. A spiritual mosaic. But everything changed with Christianity. A faith that preached humility, forgiveness, and equality, values that clashed with Rome's pride and hierarchy. For centuries, Christians were hunted, tortured, and killed in the arenas, until, in a twist of irony, the empire that persecuted them eventually knelt before the cross. Engineering and urban life. One of Rome's greatest legacies was its engineering. Aqueducts that carried water for miles. Roads that connected the empire, some still in use today. Colosseums and amphitheaters that defied time. Public baths, sewers, heating systems. Rome invented the concept of the modern city. The phrase, "all roads lead to Rome," was not a metaphor. It was literal. The empire created a web of connections so vast that, in many ways, we still live upon it. The decline when the giant crumbled. But every empire eventually collapses from within, and Rome was no exception. The 3rd century was a nightmare. The so-called crisis of the 3rd century nearly destroyed everything. More generals than emperors. Provinces breaking away. A corrupt army. A sinking economy. Rome, the eternal city, began to tremble. The division. In 395 AD, Emperor Theodosius delivered the final blow to Roman unity. He divided the empire in two, east and west. Rome, the ancient capital, remained in the west. Constantinople, the new jewel, ruled the east. And from then on, what was once one body became two worlds. The east prospered. The west bled. The barbarian invasions. Germanic tribes, Goths, Vandals, Huns, began pushing through the borders. Rome, already weakened, could no longer resist. In 410 AD, the unthinkable happened. Rome was sacked. The Visigoths entered the eternal city, the symbol of civilization itself, and the world was never the same. That moment The fall of the Eternal City became the symbol of human arrogance collapsing under its own weight. The end. In 476 AD, the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed. A boy carrying the names of Rome's first king and its first emperor, symbol of both beginning and end. The Western Roman Empire was gone. But the Byzantine Empire in the east would endure for another 1,000 years. Rome died, but it never truly disappeared. It lives in the laws we follow, the cities we build, the words we speak, the language we use. It lives in the very idea of power. The legacy Rome never fell, because in the end, the Roman Empire did not vanish. It simply changed form. It lives in Europe's cathedrals, in the roads that still cross the continent, in the Latin roots of half our languages. It lives in law, in politics, in the republics that still struggle to balance freedom and authority. Rome is more than history. It is a reminder that all glory comes with a price. But what we leave behind can be. Rome fell, but we still live in its shadow.